Welcome back to Nikki's Scrapbooking Adventures. Well, I appreciate you guys because you are keeping me honest. I said I was going to get this project done by the end of November, and we are towards the end of the November, and I haven't worked on it at all. Besides that one layout I did for January. So, I need to get my butt moving. Today, what we're going to focus on is getting the base pages completed for my 2022 album. Here's a look at January again. Remember, I've got a 5x12, 5x12, 9x12, 3x12. Okay, so my goal today is to cut all of these base pages apart. Then, the following video, I'll try to get some embellishing done. The embellishing portion is the hardest portion for me. It takes some time. I have to think about what I want, where does it go, all that fun stuff. A lot of people like that process. I don't. It takes too long. I enjoy getting my base pages done. So what I am going to do is I'm going to label each of these papers that I have here and make sure that they stay in order. That's going to be the tricky part. I'm going to cut all of the colored cardstock first, and then all of the pattern paper next. That's why it's going to be important to label which month these go to, because some months can be a part of other months and vice versa. I'm noticing some dirt here. I need to get that. So I'm going to go through, use some sticky notes, I think, on the papers, and we will go from there. Although, let's see. Oh, you know what? Well, I'm going to cut the branding strip off too, so that doesn't help me. Darn it. It's like it says February icons right on the bottom here, but I'm cutting the branding strip off too. So, you know what? I think what I'll end up doing. So first, label the paper. 2, cut the branding strips off every single piece of paper. 3, cut the colored cardstock. 4, cut this cardstock. And then I'll be back. Okay, so I've cut off all of the branding strips. I've labeled each of my papers with a little sticky note and separated them into piles. So this pile are the cut apart sheets that I will not be cutting up because I want to wait to cut these up until I'm ready to embellish. So I'm going to set these aside. And thankfully I didn't have to label these because it did have the month of the year on it. So those are going to be set aside. I'm going to take a look at my sketch here just to make sure I've got the right measurements. So this is a 3x12 and a 9x12. That's one cut. So I am going to start with my solid papers. And I'm going to cut them all at the same time. I'll cut them one at a time, but I'll do them all right in a row. So that all I have to think about is adjusting the length to 9. Okay, so there's 9, and cut. And then I'll put this aside. And I'll do each of these like that. So go to 9, and cut. And I'll make sure that the bigger piece is on bottom, so that that smaller piece stays with it. And I don't have to worry about losing that smaller piece then. Okay, so I'll pause and I'll come back after I'm done. Okay, these are all done. Look at that, power of YouTube, right? Didn't take me that long, maybe like 2 minutes. And then I was done because it was just one cut each paper. Next will be my pattern paper. And according to my sketch, it's going to be a 5x12. So what I'll end up doing is I'm going to cut 5, 5. I'm going to make just 2 cuts, each one. So all I have to think about then, while I'm doing it, is getting to 5, cutting, and 5. You know, when I did that walk through on January, I was really worried about cutting off the images. And that actually messed me up because my proportions were wrong then for my photos. So I'm not going to worry about the images this time. I am just going to cut 5 and 5. Oh, and look at that. That comes out perfectly with this pattern paper. That's fun. Okay, so I'm going to do all of this set at 5 and 5, and I will come back. Okay, my next pile is done. So I've got my pile of cut papers that are 5 by 5 by 2, and my pile of cut papers that are 9 by 3. So now what I am going to do is adhere, I think, all of these papers first, since there's only 2, and then I don't have to worry about it, right? Now, when I did my sample layout, I remember that we had a specific area here. Let's see, 1 inch. So I need to go 1 inch from right here, and then the rest will lay in place. Okay. And I need to just center this one. Okay. So now I am going to be going back to back on these papers. So I'm actually going to set it up kind of like what a book would do. Right? Okay, so this would be February. And then when I'm done adhering February, I'll move to March. Okay, so I have to adhere this. So I'm going to line this up here. Going to grab my T-square ruler. We're going to line that all up. Put my February sticker back on my pink. And get this on there. Now, this paper is it's like a fabric paper almost. You get it in those Joann paper packs, and it's double-sided. And it's got some texture to it. It is not good for die cutting whatsoever. It's okay. I'm not bitter about it at all. Okay, why is this not lining up right? Okay. So then there is that piece. Let's just make sure. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. It's even enough. Okay. So there's February 1st page on the back of January. And we'll get this all adhered. So this is going to be 1.5 inches from each side. Using my advanced tape glider. Highly recommend if you do not have one of these already. Also recommend Tape Jungle. You get cartons, or like I do the 12 option roll. So I get 12 rolls of this tape for this tape runner for like, I want to say $70. I don't know. It's kind of expensive, but you have to also think. I don't think it's 70. I'd have to look on the website. But it is worth the investment. Okay, so I got some extra tape here again. I'm just going to use my thing to get it off here. My glue eraser. Okay, so now it's not sticky. Well, it's sticky. Yeah, it's not sticky at all. Okay, so there's my February base pages. I'm going to flip this over and do March the same way. So I've got a little piece there that isn't so pretty. Get that all glued down. Go an inch over. I'm going to place it lightly. And then check placement. Okay, so that was definitely not an inch. So there's an inch. And ideally, if I get it on one end, it'll kind of be an inch on the other end, but you never know. Okay, so it needs to be moved over a little bit. I don't know why I'm struggling so much with this one, but you know, sometimes you just do. Okay, there we go. So that one's done. That's March's page on the back of February. Grab a new piece. Oh, you know what? I do want to keep these on here so that when I slip it in my album, I know what month I'm on. It's actually a very, very helpful little trick. So I even keep these on until I get them completely in the album and they're done. Okay. So 1.5 inches on either side, just using my guides and kind of eyeballing it. Okay. Check with the T-square ruler. Gotta scoot it over a little bit. Oops. Hang on. Okay. Let's try that again. Now, when I set this down, I'm setting it down lightly enough so I can pick it back up if I need to. Let's do this side. Did anybody see that there's a new Tiger King season out? That's exciting. My husband and I watched that, so that should be good. And I just thought it was like the funniest show. I don't know, it was so just unbelievable what that guy did. Ugh. But characters definitely were entertaining. Okay, so this is April on the back of that big piece of March. I'm doing this kind of quickly because I do, so it's not as pretty. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I will go off camera and finish this up so you guys don't have to watch me tape everything down. Okay, so I've done them all. So here's January, which we did together. And then you've got all of my solid papers. It's kind of like a flip book at this point. There are pieces where I'm going to need to come back around and trim. That's fine. I will do that after I've got every piece of cardstock adhered. You can see that I've left the sticky notes on there on purpose. So next, what we're going to do is adhere the patterned paper on top. It's going to be super quick, super easy, because I've already got it cut. Okay. Now what I'll do with these extra pieces is I'll save them for my title pages. So look out for that. Okay. So we've got this. Now this looks like I used my handy dandy We Are layer guide. And it looks like it is 3/16 of an inch along the bottom there. So I will use this guide to line that up again. And I'll go through and do each of the months. Okay. So I'll take our guide and go along the bottom there. Take my tape and go along the back. Now, when you get this collection, you've seen the paper already. You may choose to go a different route with your base pages for your month in a review. I would love to see what you're doing with this. I love this concept, so I am definitely copying it. Okay, so there's February and February. Oh, you know what? That means I don't need that extra little piece there. that one's done. So let's do this one. So again, I'm lining it up against this ridge. Okay. Trying to get it as straight as possible. Adding my adhesive. Okay, and that shifted, and that's okay. Holding it down with my fingers as I press my paper up against it, and then line that up. Okay, so that one's done. February's done, and I will continue with March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and I'll be back. Well, in the middle of rolling, or going, I ran out of tape. Not a big deal. To undo it, you just undo this, pop off this little wheel that's left, take out your tape. Then you're going to unravel. Press this in. Now this is from the Tape Jungle, and it fits perfectly. You're going to rotate it until there's little spikes that go in there. You're going to go over, under, and then over again. Using this button to release, you can rotate this freely, but in order to release the tape, you do have to use the button. And you will just wrap this end around, and then put your lid back on. Now this lid, there's little tongue and grooves that it goes into, and you just hold the bottom down and close the top, going the opposite way of the directions. And then you're ready to go. So this tape has a little dispensing, so there's actually no stick here. So you just kind of go until it starts, which would start right here. It's a little sticky, and it'll go again. Now I have noticed with this tape, as you get toward the end, I just had tape fly at me. It will get a little bit harder to use. So in the very beginning, oh my goodness, it is so smooth. As you get towards the end, you start to notice a little bit of a tug. And you'll know you're towards the end and be prepared with an extra roll, which I actually kind of like, knowing kind of ahead of time that it is time to get some new tape. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Got up to April done. Okay, and with that magic of YouTube, I am done with all of my pages. So my plan is to come back next week and embellish. But for now, I am just going to stick the monthly cut apart sheet inside each month. Isn't that fun? Okay. Look at how cute those are turning out to be, right? You got May for Mother's Day. June is Father's Day. I really like how each of the solid pattern papers really pop on these pages. I think I made a good choice on the colors that I chose. Look at this lime green. Woo! Summery indeed. There's August. And I like keeping these base pages really simple because then I can change up the photos that I have with them. Oh my goodness, I love that paper. I wish they would come up with just a section of all the background paper, but I guess you just have to buy a second collection then. There's fall. I love that maroon color with these. That looks great. And then Christmas. Woohoo! It's a little bit of a pinky Christmas. Whatever. I've got a son, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so there is my 2022 album. Pretty much done with base pages. Like I said, next week I'm going to come try and embellish. That is going to take me a long time. So, we'll see about that. That means you're embellishing 11 layouts. And it took me, I don't know what my last video was. It was over an hour, and I think I trimmed it down a little bit for you guys. And look at, I got these little cute embellishments from a swap at the Love RTS Facebook group. That's a great community. If you haven't joined, I highly recommend it. But there's a year with my Nomies. I will see you next week. Bye!